Hey, good morning and welcome to MDY online Bible class. We are continuing in the book of James. We are actually wrapping up James chapter 1 this week in verses 26 and 27. And the passage we've been in is really just kind of an overview of how followers of Jesus need to go about living their lives. And these last couple of verses are pretty challenging. And it wraps up like this in verse 26. It says, if you claim to be religious, but do not control what you say. Some of the versions say, if you don't control your tongue. It says, you are fooling yourself, and your religion is worthless. What? This is kind of crazy. If we don't watch what comes out of our mouths, if we don't watch the words we say and are careful with those, it says right here that we're fooling ourselves and our religion is worthless. It goes on in verse 27 to say, pure and genuine religion in the sight of God is caring for orphans and widows in their distress and refusing to let the world corrupt you. So, just incredibly challenging words here from the Word of God. A couple of days ago, my son sent me this text and said, hey, Dad, listen to this song. I think you'll appreciate the words. And the song was a Metallica t-shirt by a band called Wolfie's Just Fine. And it was it's a great song. It's written kind of from the perspective of this kid who it kind of leads you to believe that he's from like a Christian, God-fearing family, and that he's a decent kid. He's not like trying to throw away his faith in God or say he doesn't believe in God or anything. But he wants more than anything else to get a Metallica t-shirt, and he's asking his mom if he can get a Metallica t-shirt, and she says no, because Metallica's evil, they're of the devil, and you're not going to wear that. And so I listened to the song, and I honestly kind of related to it somewhat, because I remember when I was growing up, I had all these rock band posters on my wall, Kiss and REO Speedwagon and Boston and Pink Floyd, and my mom let me have those posters. I'm pretty sure, like this kid in the song, that she would not have let me wear a Kiss t-shirt out in public to school, especially not to church. So I relate to what he's saying. But there's a line in the song that really got me thinking, and honestly it's a good point of discussion for another time. But the line said this. It said, does everything always have to be about God? And I got to thinking about that, and kind of especially in light of our passage this week in James. And I mean, what about that question? Does everything always need to be about God? I mean, do we really need to always watch what we say? Because of why? It says here very clearly that if someone claims to be religious, which I think in the context here, if someone claims to be a follower of Jesus, that they need to watch what they say. Because our lives, at least when we claim that identity, when we claim that relationship with God and to be a follower of Jesus, then our identity is a reflection of that. Our identity is a reflection of Him. And so it's kind of like the Word of God says, I'm not my own. I've been bought with a price, and I belong to Him. And so I need to think more than just about myself. And so, to that question, does everything always have to be about God? Because I know some of us may be saying, come on, we can tell jokes and we can say things sometimes, and what's the big deal? And I get that. That's a fair question, but really, what is the answer to that question? And I think maybe everything is always about God, as long as that's what we have identified with. If we've made that claim, if we've decided to be a follower of Jesus, then yes, everything is about Him all the time. And then going further in this passage, it says, another thing that Jesus followers need to be about is caring for those less fortunate than they are, caring about people who are more vulnerable than we are, such as widows and orphans. And then it says also caring for ourselves. Myself, who is also vulnerable to the influence of the world I live in. And so we have a responsibility, not just to ourselves, but to the one we claim to be followers of. So, can a follower of Jesus just ignore those less fortunate? No. Can we ignore taking care of and looking out for widows and children who don't have families? We have an obligation. Does that mean every Christian needs to be a foster parent or adopt someone? No, not necessarily, but we certainly need to do something to look out for that part of our population, or at least support those people who do those things. Does that mean that we can just ignore the things that come out of our mouths? Not at all. In fact, I'm always challenged by Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 29, where it says, don't use foul or abusive language. Some of the versions say, don't let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths. Let everything you say be good and helpful, so that your words will be an encouragement to those who hear them. So there's our challenge this week from the book of James and other places in the Word of God, and I just encourage us. The book of James does not let up on this. There's already been a point that we've seen already that talks about us being careful with what we say, and then there's the verses this week, and then there's another point coming up where James also addresses the importance of what we say, of the words that come out of our mouth. So it's a big deal to James, and I think a big deal to God. That's why He inspired James to write these words. And so there you have it. That's our challenge for this week. And then ultimately, the question, can followers of Jesus wear Metallica t-shirts? There's a question for you to answer for yourself. Probably so, but that's up to you. That's up to your parents, whether they would let you do that or not, or whether you would even want to. So I want to finish with just a couple of announcements, and one is this coming Wednesday night we continue midweek youth group at Eastside, and so we're starting a new series this month on relationships, and we're going to look at dating and marriage and stuff like that, not in an uncomfortable or annoying way. We're not like going to split girls and guys up into separate groups, but that's what we're looking at this month, just taking a look at the Word of God. And let me tell you, some of this is challenging, especially in light of our culture, in light of what we just read in the book of James about not being influenced by the culture and the world we live in. So we're gonna be challenged by that this month at Midweek Youth Group. And then next Sunday we start a new offering for MDY. It's called Reset, and we're gonna meet every Sunday at 10:30, probably like 10:30 to noon, maybe 10:30 to 11:30. And we're gonna just focus on being together and having that community together. We will carry over what we talk about on Wednesday nights and just have some discussion about that. If you missed the Wednesday night before, you won't miss. It'll just kind of get us all on the same page. But every Sunday we'll we'll be doing that with kind of the idea in mind that we've just had a week, and some of us have had maybe more of a week than others, and we need to reset. It's the first Sunday, the first day of the week, and it's an opportunity for us just to kind of reset, renew everything, and we can do that together and encourage one another. So I leave that with you today. I pray that you've been challenged by the Word of God today. I pray that you have a good week coming up, and stay safe, do good, be blessed. Thanks.